Welcome to today's more report on Monday the 18th of April with me, Richard Pro Market Analyst at Handset Markets. We've had the fallout basically flooding through the markets from this Doha meeting at the weekend. There was no agreement on production cuts or freezes, and that was driven primarily due to the fact that Saudi Arabia didn't want to freeze production whilst Iran was not taking part. So the political spat that is ongoing between Iran and Saudi continues to affect markets, and this is certainly the fallout from that today. Let me show you the oil price. Sharply lower at the open today, but bounced a little bit. It's only sort of 3% down. It was much more than that earlier, but only like 3% down now. So that's interesting that it's unwound a bit, and that sort of unwinding has allowed equity markets to sort of rebound as well, and a little bit of that risk aversion that we saw through the markets just unwind slightly pretty much across the board. We're seeing a pretty mixed outlook on the forex markets actually. The euro is higher, yen's higher, but the dollar is performing a bit better against sterling, and also the commodity currencies as well. But sort of the main one being the Canadian loonie, which is sharply lower. Big ties to the oil price in that market there, but certainly the sort of safe haven flow that resulted in Treasury yields opening lower is not as strong. I mean, it's actually bounced a little bit on the 2-year certainly, and also the 10-year unwound some of the losses. So interesting that these markets are doing this as the morning has gone on, and it'll be again interesting to see what the US comes in and does in about a couple of hours really. So it's an interesting morning actually. What else have we got to drive markets today? It was not a great deal because we pretty much only got the NAHB home prices index, and that is at 3 o'clock. It's expected to just improve very slightly to 59, so that would be a 3-month high. But not too much impact you can imagine from that today. There is a speech, interesting enough, by the FOMC's Bill Dudley, who's on the FOMC and is I think is vice chair actually, and he's on the dovish end of the spectrum. He certainly sits alongside Yellen in more sense of the word than one actually, in terms of the fact that they're both doves, and it'd be interesting to see what he comes out with today, whether he can affect the dollar, as the Fed speakers in recent weeks have been quite a significant mover of the dollar, so watch out for that. That's at 1:30 this afternoon. So that takes me to my chart today, which is the Aussie dollar, and what we've had is this Aussie dollar rising in the last week or so, but I'm still looking at this bearish divergence on the RSI and MACD lines, and also stochastics to a certain extent as well. Now we've had these higher highs, and I sort of looked at this bearish divergence a couple of weeks back. We've still got it in place actually, the higher high on the price, but the lower highs in the RSI. So that could begin to drag on the price, and obviously this morning it looked pretty good for a move to the downside, but obviously it's just unwound some of that move in the last couple of hours. But will it move to a breakout again? Now you've got the resistance in place from last Thursday, 77.35 area. And that is on the daily chart as this multi-month resistance going back to sort of June last year. But it is, I think, losing momentum, and that's, I think, a significant warning sign that we need to sort of take heed of potentially, and that is something that could have an impact on the Aussie in the coming days and possibly weeks, as I would imagine at some stage that this bull run may sort of come up against a bit more of a corrective pressure as the upside impetus just wanes somewhat, but it sort of looks like it's getting ready for a bit of a correction back towards this uptrend, in my opinion. 74.50 at that uptrend at the moment, and you've got that big band of support that has sort of caught the last two key lows really, 74.90 area, 74.70, 74.90. So it looks to me as though we're just rolling over again. I mean, yes, we've had this rebound in intraday today, but again, it's just this bearish divergence does give me a little bit of concern. So I wish you good luck in your trading on the Aussie today, and I will speak to you later.